Hi everyone. This is another example. Now here I'm not going to use x. Here I'm going to use t, just so you can trick you. But this is the same concept applies here. You can pretend the t's are your x's, okay? But the thing is, you have to first ask: is this is again another trinomial with a squared term, right? Here in this case is t squared. The thing you want to deal with is in this expression. Look at is something very interesting here. The number in front of t squared. It's 4. Not 1, it's 4. So the things we did in the other example, where we had a trinomial where the number in front of x squared was 1, here it's the number in front of it is 4. So the technique is going to be slightly different, but the same idea applies. Okay, so how you're going to do it. So the step 1 is we need to find all those pairs, right? So step 1 is we want to find all integer pairs, similar to the first step, like in the other example, right? But the difference is this: it's not find all integer pairs that multiply together to give you a -12. It's not that. That's where a lot of students mess this example up. It's in fact all the integer pairs that multiply to give us, all integers that multiply together to give us four times -12. Not -12, 4. So 4 times -12. Okay. So it's a number. So that's the trick. It's this number multiplied by the last number. So the first number multiplied by the last number. That's what we want to look at. What are all the integer pairs that multiply that together gives us 4 times -12, which is -48. So that's what we want to do. We want to find all the pairs. Sorry, let me just reverse back. Is we want to find all the pairs that multiply to give us -48. Okay, that's the trick. Okay, so it's not all the integer pairs that multiply to give you -12. It's all the pairs that multiply together gives you -48. The second step is, so sorry, we didn't do the first step, sorry. So let's do that one. So what are all the pairs that multiply together give you -48? What are those pairs? Let's look at them. Let's look at them. So of course, 48 and 1, -48 and 1. Sorry. So yeah, negative. All right. Sorry, 48 and -1, -48 and 1. What about other pairs? Let's look at -12 and 1. So -12 and 4. 12 and -4. Anything else you could think of? Why don't you pause the video and you decide for yourself what are those pairs? So let's Hi everyone. So let's continue on. So if you get the other 4 other pairs, this is what you're going to get. Okay, so I'll let you. These are the pairs, and so now step 2 is the same as before. Is you want to find the pair that adds up to -13. So again, the same thing. 48 plus. If you look at the first pair, what's 48 plus -1? It's 47. So that's not going to work. What about -12 and 4? If you add them up, what do you get? What is that? -8. Is that same as -13? No. If I take -8 and 6, if I add them up, is that going to give you -13? -8 plus 6 is what? -2. Is that -2 the same as -13? No. So that's not going to work. So which one is going to work here? What is going to be? It's going to be what? -16 and 3. Because what's -16 plus 3? It gives you -13. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to continue on the next line. So here, if I could scroll down, so let's do it here. So I'm going to scroll down. So what you're going to get here is you're going to have 4t squared minus 13t minus 12. So what we're going to get is this is going to, so what I'm going to write is we're going to rewrite negative 13t in terms of negative 16 and 3. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write this as 4t squared minus 16t plus 3t minus 12. Look how interesting. So it's basically this negative 16 is from this negative 16 here. Okay? This 3 is this 3 here. Do you see the pattern? And notice that negative 16 plus negative 16t plus 3t gives you negative 3t, negative 13t. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, so let's do that. So now I'm going to put a bracket here. Okay, and I'm going to factor out a t, sorry. So here, let's factor, how do you factor 4t squared minus 16t? How do you factor that? Well, you can factor out, it's going to be 4t, and what you get left over is t minus 4. And let's look at 3t minus 12. How do you factor that? It's going to be 3t minus 4. So now, let us factor out, we have, this is what we get. Now we're going to factor out a t minus 4. So we're going to factor out t minus 4. So what you're going to get is, this is going to be t minus 4. And what you get left over is 4t plus 3. Now, if you have any questions, you can always write it in, you can always ask me if you have any questions. But that's how you deal with factoring. It's a little different than what we're used to normally doing. It's slightly different in the case where a is equal to 1, but the steps are similar. You just have to be careful that it's not negative. It's not all integers that multiply to give you negative 12. It's actually all integers that multiply to give you the first number times the last number. So good.